Hi, it's Matt here for newsshooter.com. Now, a lot of people have bought the Panasonic GH4 and the Sony a7S cameras. Now, these are great because they're small, compact cameras that are mirrorless that you can hold up to your eye, have a small profile, and you can carry them around and use them discreetly. But what happens when you want to use them in a more professional situation or on a tripod with some audio accessories or viewfinders, etc., etc.? So if you do want to use a lot of accessories on your GH4 or your a7S, then you really need a cage or some type of mounting solution to put all these bits and pieces on. Now, I've been looking at this one from a company called FHUGEN, which is based out of the United States, I think in Texas. Now, this is their GH3, GH4/A7S cage. Now, it'll take any one of those cameras that I just mentioned, and it's a pretty basic design, but it's still lightweight and compact enough where you can put a lot of accessories on there, keep your camera reasonably low profile, and then just add bits and pieces as you choose. Now, they're calling this the Honu cage, and this is the version 2, and I've got the Sony a7S in here. I was looking for something after I got my a7S, and this caught my eye because it seemed small, it seemed compact, and it seemed to offer the features that I wanted to do, and it was a pretty good price. So let's have a look at the Honu cage itself. Now, it's pretty much a one-piece construction here. The only difference is at the top you can move this plate around. Now, this is something that's very interesting, and I found specifically if you want to use this with the a7S, this is something you need to be aware of. If you are going to use the optional Sony XLR hot shoe adapter here, which I've got, now they are working on a second version of this, so this may not be the case when the new one comes along, but that's still a few months away. So if you are using this one, which I do recommend because you get all the audio inputs for your a7S, and it just makes it a lot more convenient. But the problem is that the cage normally comes with this part of the plate pushed back, and then the trouble with that is with the hot shoe interface that comes off from the Sony that communicates with the camera, you can't fit it in there because the plate's in the way. Now, luckily it's got a couple of screws on the top, so all I've done here is just move the plate further forward. Now, it's still very rigid and no problems at all there, but it does mean that you've got access to this. And what I also like is I've now got a lot more access, and it's a lot easier to get to any of my dials without them getting away with the cage being over the top, and your fingers get cramped in there and you can't press the buttons that you like. Now, depending on where you have your camera mounted on the bottom here with the screw plate, you've got access to your battery and everything there. Just be aware though that depending on where you have it, you may not get full access to the battery. Here I've got it pushed back to a certain bit and the door won't pop open, so I'd really need to have this pushed back, which is not a problem. It just depends on where you want to position this. Just be aware of things like that when you are using cameras in cages, that if you do need to change batteries and things quickly, you want to be able to get access to them. Of course, you've got full access here to your memory card and everything along those lines. On the back here, now they do have this this optional here, HDMI port protector, which is really good. You can move it around. It'll work with the GH3, GH4 or the a7S here. You just put your HDMI cable through here. It's protected, it's not going to get knocked. It's just quite a good solution. I'm not really big on the Sony one that they provided because you're sitting it over the door, and I think without a cage or something, if you knock that, you could easily just snap the whole door mechanism off there. Now, feature-wise, what's really good about this this cage is if I just take off my audio mount off the top here, is that it's got lots of mounting points. There's mounting points all over the top, there's mounting points on the side in different areas here. And it's also what I find really good about this particular one is that it's got all these cold shoe slots. So there's one on the top and two on the sides, and it means you can slide them in. You're not locked into one spot. You can move them back and forth and have them on the side. So whether you want to mount your microphone on the side, perhaps if you want to use it that way, mount it on the top. I've used it by putting an EVF on the top here by mounting it and had my audio, and I've even put handles on the side. So there's lots of different mounting options for the cage and the versatility of being able to move it around. I mean, it's sturdy design, it's very strong, but it's still quite lightweight. Now, you can get the Honu cage in a variety of different configurations. This is the basic cage as you're seeing here. You can also buy one that includes a top handle that again you can put anywhere. It's nice, it's got threads everywhere as well, so you can mount things through there if you need be. It also comes with a little adapter here, which is a cold shoe to put various accessories if you want on there. I think that package is around about $180 or somewhere around those lines. They also do make a riser with some rods in there. Now I think this is really handy. You really need to get this because I'll tell you why. If you're using the A7S and say you have the Sony alpha lenses and you're using one of the LEA adapters, if I just take this off here, because it's a cage, if I put the LEA adapter on here like this, what you're going to find is I can now no longer put this onto, say, just straight onto a camera base plate or something, because it's obviously going to hit. One of the Sony power zooms is the same thing. It hangs down here at the bottom, so just be aware of that. If you do have those lenses and you want to use this, I would probably recommend getting the riser. I think it's about $60 that you can put some rods in there. Then it provides clearance for any type of lens. I think that's just a better option. Now the Honu may not be the best cage out there on the market, but it's very good value for money and it offers you good flexibility. If you own a GH4 and an A7S, then you can use both cameras in this one cage. It's versatile in terms of there's lots of mounting points. I like this cold shoe designs here. It's smart that you've been able to move this top plate further forward to accommodate the different things like the audio that I talked about before. I found this when I used it recently on a documentary in this cage, and I had a EVF mounted. I had a couple of radio mics. I had the Sony XLR adapter that I showed you before, and I could take it off a tripod or use it handheld by holding it with a handle that I had. I was using a Vocus handle on here and I had my EVF here, and I found it quite easy to use. You know, you don't have to put this sort of camera in a cage, but I think once you start adding accessories it becomes very difficult. You don't want lots of things just hanging off the camera. You know, this is compact, it's easy. I mean, I can still just even hold it like this, no problems at all, and work it in the cage. It doesn't really add much more weight to the overall setup. So, you know, it's a pretty good option. If you're on a budget and you're looking for something for your A7S or your GH4, then check out the FHUGEN Hondo cage.